Reversal of fortune. First love, old flame. New love, I was blown to smithereens that I don't know how long past. My head ached, throbbing with pain. Then, a flood of memories that weren't mine surged into my mind. After a moment, I had to accept this ridiculous truth. I had transmigrated into the body of a girl whose father didn't love her and whose stepmother despised her. I lay in a hospital bed. The noise around me was so annoying that I had to open my eyes. Sister, you're finally awake. I was so worried about you. Nan Wan whimpered, sniffling. From Nan Li's memories, this girl was a two-faced drama queen. All sweet on the surface while bullying her relentlessly. That I ignored her and turned to Nan Fei. Father, I'd like some peace and quiet to rest. Nan Fei grunted an okay and took them both out. Honestly, he was just checking to see if Nan Li had died. Nan Li was dead, filled with resentment. But now I was here. Since I'd taken over Nan Li's body, I figured I ought to do something for her. The car accident was staged by that mother-daughter duo. Their goal? To steal the 30% shares that Nan Li's mother had left to her. They'd waited until now because Nan Li's mother, Gu Yun, had left a will stating the inheritance would only be revealed once Nan Li reached adulthood. If she died before then, the assets would be donated by default. Gu Yun was a tragic figure. Her husband never loved her. He only married her for her family's power and money. The mistress kept making trouble at her door, until Gu Yun couldn't take it anymore and killed herself. That I called a nurse to bring me some food. That I knew well that health is the foundation for everything. That a strong body is key to getting big things done. A month later, I had recovered. That I started going to school with Nan Wan. She was a big deal on campus. Thanks to her lies, everyone believed that Gu Yun had broken up Nan Fei and his mistress. The old Nan Li was timid. But me? I'm the type who gets revenge on the spot. No talking if I can throw a punch instead. One day, the teacher announced that the school was building a new lab and looking for investors. She asked everyone to talk to their parents, ideally rich ones. Nan Wan stood up. Teacher, the Nan group can invest 5 million. Her little followers in the classroom started gushing, hyping her up like crazy. I stayed quiet. The Nan group? If my memory served me right, I was one of the biggest shareholders, owning exactly the same 30% as Nan Fei. Actually, if you counted my maternal grandfather's 21.3%, I probably had the most say. The question was whether my grandfather would even acknowledge me. After Gu Yun died, Nan Fei had completely messed up Nan Li, turning her into a spineless pushover. The old man had started to lose faith in her. After school, Nan Wan grabbed my arm. Sister, can you get 5 million out of this year's Nan group dividends? No, I said coldly. She clung on, refusing to give up. I'm not as rich as you, sister, so you should cover it. It'd be good for the company's reputation, right? If this were the old Nan Li, she would have caved under the nagging. But I wasn't that Nan Li. I pulled her hand off my arm, enunciating every word. Are you telling me you don't have even 5 million, Miss Nan Group? Nan Wan loved being called that. The fake heiress. She caught my sarcasm and her face turned beet red. I walked out of the school gate and spotted my ride. The driver saw me, but didn't move. He didn't even unlock the door until I tapped on the window. After I got in, he didn't start the car. He was clearly waiting for Nan Wan. Since I needed time to get familiar with this world, I let it slide. I pulled out my phone and started reading up on criminal law. An hour later, Nan Wan strolled out casually. The moment the driver spotted her, he pulled up and got out, toadying as he opened her door. Good afternoon, miss. Oh, that really set me off. Treating people like that, playing favorites, and miss, don't you know who signs your paycheck? Just as he was about to drive off, I popped open my door and got out. I knocked on his window. You get out. He looked confused. Won't get out? Find out I'll get you out myself. That I opened the driver door and yanked him out. He didn't see it coming. Probably never thought a petite girl could have that much strength. That I tossed him sideways like a sack of trash. He collided with a tree a meter away. Standing over him, I pulled a stack of cash from my uniform pocket and threw it onto his chest. You're fired. I didn't bother checking Nan Wan's reaction. That I got into the driver's seat and sped home. When Nan Wan got out of the car later, she was throwing up incessantly. Soon after, Nan Fei called me to his study. There was Nan Wan too, barely hiding a sneer. Before I could speak, Nan Fei laid into me. When he finally paused, I sobbed quietly. Father, I was harassed. Don't you think I should have defended myself? He frowned and looked at Nan Wan. Nan Wan jumped in. Sister, how can you slander Uncle Li like that? I was in the car too, you know. If you came out so late, how would you even know what happened before you got in? I wiped my tears. Nan Fei raised his voice. Enough. No matter how you twist it, driving without a license is a fact. He was exactly the sort to yell no matter what, always blaming Nan Li. But honestly, I'd driven tanks before. That a regular car was nothing. I held my tongue. I promised never again. I whispered. One more scolding session later. He let me go. As I walked out, Nan Wan gave me a look of pure mockery. I ignored her and went straight to my room. And wouldn't you know it, trouble always comes in pairs. Soon I had cops knocking on the door. Someone had reported me for assault and driving without a license. That I was hauled to the police station. That driver was there too. I narrowed my eyes at him. The officer asked, Is that her? The driver nodded. Yes, that's her. I was acting in self-defense. I said in a pitiful voice, Officer, he was harassing me. Luckily, earlier that afternoon, I'd read you could claim self-defense. There was no surveillance footage in the car, so the police were stumped. Still, I got a lecture for the unlicensed driving. They said since I was a brand new adult, I needed a guarantor to sign me out before I could leave. Me. Nan Li had no close family or friends. Who could I turn to? Just then a man walked into the room. His face stirred something in my memory. His family was close to my maternal grandfather's. Duan Fan, 5 years older. Without hesitation I called, Brother Duan Fan. He furrowed his handsome brows and looked at me. I rushed right up to him. Brother Duan Fan, it's me, Grandpa Gu's granddaughter. I tugged his sleeve and gave him a desperate series of winks. Thankfully, he played along. What are you doing here? My eyes went wide with pitiful pleading. I got caught driving without a license. Someone reported me. Afraid he'd say no, I grabbed his arm and pulled him toward the cops. This is my brother. He'll stand surety for me. Can I leave now? When he saw Duan Fan, the officer's attitude did a complete 180. Ah, so this young miss is your sister? Of course, but don't drive unlicensed again. I mumbled thanks and turned to walk out. Then, my collar was caught from behind. I'll drop you home on my way. I had to play nice. He did sign for me. He had some business to handle. I sat in a chair and waited. Half an hour later, he stepped out of the police chief's office. Without a word, I shadowed him. Even the chief treated him politely. It made me nostalgic for my old life. In the mercenary world, strength was everything. And I'd been an SSS-rank mercenary. The top of the top. That I couldn't believe I'd been taken out by such a stupid mistake. Tripping on a vine and stepping on a landmine. Somewhere along the way, Duan Fan stopped. Stuck in my thoughts, I smashed right into his back. A faint, elegant scent of ambergris mixed with the smell of tobacco hit me. He looked down at me. Can't drive? Now can't walk straight either? It wasn't on purpose, I murmured. He leaned in. You're Nan Li? I nodded. Yet I saw you once when I was small at Grandpa's place. Just remembered you today. Thanks. Try not to worry the old man too much, Duan Fan said abruptly. I was a bit confused. After she grew up? Nan Li had drifted apart from Grandpa Gu. What was there to worry about? By the time he dropped me home, it was already late that I walked inside. The three of them, the happy little family, were sitting in the living room, scrutinizing me. The mother and daughter barely hid their schadenfreude. I couldn't be bothered to deal with them that I headed straight for the stairs. Stop right there. I halted and turned. What is it, father? Before Nan Fei could speak, Nan Wan chimed in. Sister, where have you been so late? We were all so worried about you. This little green tea was getting on my last nerve. Mind your own business. I muttered, Li Yunqing. Nan Wan's mother put on a soothing tone. Lily, Warner was just concerned. Must you speak so harshly? Honestly, I'd take a brawl with knives and guns over these palace intrigue games any day. Don't go making trouble outside. You're disgracing the Nan family. Nan Fei started up again. I was at the police station. Someone reported me for driving without a license, I said, shooting a meaningful glance at Nan Wan. Then I immediately slipped into my acting mode. I'm sorry, Father, I know I've shamed the family, that I realize my mistake. But why would my own sister report me? Shouldn't we all get along peacefully? I began to choke up convincingly. Nan Wan looked shocked. She hadn't expected this. Father, how could I have reported sister? Sister, why are you framing me? The police told me it was a real name report, and they even gave my sister's name. Is it possible someone has a grudge against you, sister, and used your name to frame you? I said, tears glistening in my eyes. Heh, I'm a natural-born actress. Nan Wan was at a loss for words. Father, Nan Fei cut her off, glaring. Enough. This is nothing but trouble and bad blood. Of course, there was no real name report. That it was a lie I'd made up. One that left Nan Wan utterly unable to defend herself, seeing how this was going. Li Yunqing deftly changed the subject. Lily, who was that person who brought you home just now? It looked like a man. That it's so late. You could have called the driver. That you're still young, you know. A man and a woman mustn't get too close. If word gets out, it'll hurt the Nan family's reputation. Sure enough, Nan Fei's attention shifted right back to me. He bellowed. What's going on? Now there's some man involved. I'd been in this world long enough to get used to Nan Fei's shrewish tantrums. Oh, it was Duan Fan. At the name Duan Fan, his face transformed instantly. Young Master Duan? Why didn't you invite him in to sit for a while? Next time, make sure to treat him to a meal. He was busy, I said. The Duan family was a prestigious house. Nothing like the Nan family's live-in son-in-law roots. They were worlds apart. Nan Fei was clearly dying to curry favor with a family like that. And that mother-daughter pair were no doubt angling to land a rich husband. They glared at me like they wanted to kill me. That I just curled my lip at them and headed to my room. The next day at school, Nan Wan signed the investment contract in front of the whole class. The $5 million came out of her own private savings. After what happened yesterday, knowing Nan Fei's stingy nature, he wouldn't give her a cent. Nan Wan was willing to spend her own money just to soak up all that flattery. She liked being the center of adoring attention. Huh? Well, as a little payback for Nan Li, I'd let her have a taste of being despised instead. There were only a few days left before the college entrance exam. In Nan Li's memory, this test seemed very important. That I looked at the practice papers on my desk. The answers popped into my mind effortlessly. That I didn't know what Nan Li's dream was. Searching her memories, I only found one thought. If she became outstanding enough, Nan Fei might finally notice her. I flipped through the university admissions guide. The 4 characters for National Defense University caught my eye. That's the one. With the knowledge I now had in my head, passing shouldn't be hard. In early June, the sweltering heat mingled with a cool breeze. The bell rang. I put down my pen, walked out of the classroom. and saw Nan Wan surrounded by her little groupies, fluttering around her like bees. She spotted me and came over. "Sister, you took so long to come out. This exam was really tough. It's okay if you couldn't finish. Don't be upset." I had no interest in bickering with her. Yeah, I bombed it. I pretended to be irritable and walked away. The Gaokao was over. Time to stir things up. I spent a fortune hiring a well-known private investigator to dig into the three of them, especially Li Yunqing. Tracking everything they'd done over the years, my gut told me Li Yunqing was hiding something. Half a month later, the private investigator got back to me. Over the years, Nan Fei had been bribing officials with girls and money. Most of those girls were barely legal, some even underage. With no background to protect them. In that moment, I realized just how utterly rotten Nan Fei was. Li Yunqing transferred money to different accounts every 6 months. As for Nan Wan, nothing suspicious came up, but that figured. With a brain like hers, she couldn't stir up much trouble anyway. A few more days went by, and the Gaokao results were out. I scored 736. The whole school was in an uproar. Realistically, with Nan Li's level, she could have only managed 670 or 680 tops. But what could I say? In my past life, I was a science prodigy. That mother-daughter duo had a whole rainbow of expressions on their faces. Nan Wan got around 500-something. I didn't pay attention. Most of the class seemed to be in the 500s anyway. Nan Fei put on a benevolent smile, the kind Nan Li's memories had never seen. "Lily is back? Tired?" Sarcasm welled up inside me. "Not tired," I said flatly. He pretended not to notice I had zero interest in talking to him. "Which university does Lily want to go to?" "National Defense." His smile grew even wider. "National Defense is great." I could tell from his tone he was already scheming how to use me in the future. I grunted and went to my room. Unsurprisingly, I was admitted to the National Defense Military Academy. On the first day, Nan Wan's name was on the freshman roster too. I couldn't shake her off no matter what. No wonder she'd been quiet lately. Nan Fei must have pulled strings to get her in. The one saving grace was that we weren't in the same department. During military training, I spotted Duan Fan. It was the first time I'd seen him since last time. But was he my drill instructor? "Everyone, listen up. I'll be your instructor for this training." Duan Fan's voice was sharp. He seemed to notice my gaze and glanced my way. Training wasn't quite what I'd imagined. It was a bit boring. I didn't get that satisfying feeling of pushing my physical limits. But for the others, it was tough. Nan Wan looked like she was about to drop dead. A week later, we entered the next phase. Duan Fan looked around at us. "From today on, 10 kilometers every day? No one falls behind, or the whole unit fails." The September sun was brutal. A hot breeze stirred up waves of heat. 10 clicks was easy for me. It'd be why the 7th lap. People were already falling behind. I watched them supporting each other. I couldn't understand. Why help someone else when you're exhausted yourself? Duan Fan was sizing me up. I met his eyes and gave him a nod by way of greeting. I finished first. It took another half hour for everyone else to finish. "Fall in," Duan Fan barked. "For today, consider the task completed. Starting tomorrow, the whole team must finish within 60 minutes. We won't move on until everyone can do it in 50. He paused and looked at me again. "You're a unit. This isn't a solo mission. In battle, these are the comrades you trust with your life." Was he saying that for my benefit? When I worked as a mercenary, I didn't have any concept of teamwork. The weak had low survival rates and could drag down the strong. I always operated alone. Back at the dorm, my roommates stared at me with starry eyes. "Lily, you're amazing. Here, drink some water." "You got first. You need hot water?" "I was just about to go. I'll get it for you." "Those guys couldn't keep up with you." Anyone ordering takeout? Let's eat together. Yeah, you should have seen their faces, haha. I'm in. Li, you want some? Let's share. I didn't have friends. Neither did Nan Li. That was the one thing we had in common, that I didn't know how to respond to them. This felt different from being around Nan Wan and her crowd, that I gave them a small smile. Okay, maybe Duan Fan was right. Maybe I should try fitting into a group. Li, don't smile. My little heart can't take it. You've stolen it. Summer cried out dramatically that I couldn't help but laugh at her antics. The dorm atmosphere became relaxed and easy. And surprisingly, Nan Wan hadn't bothered me lately. Military training soon drew to a close, that I was awarded the title of Best Newcomer. Some people got sore and challenged me to a duel. Challenges were allowed, and I had the right to refuse. But I didn't want it. That I loved seeing them seethe, but unable to take me down, that I boldly accepted. Summer and the others urged me not to engage, but I was determined to sand down their sharp edges. The challenger was a burly guy, half a head taller than me. Duan Fan's brow furrowed. He looked at me intently. You have the right to refuse. I shot him a reassuring look. It's fine, that I accept. Duan Fan said nothing more, that I didn't want to trade blows. I wanted a one-hit knockout. When Duan Fan called start, I didn't hesitate. I charged straight at the guy and kicked him flying. That I stood where he had been and straightened my shirt, dusted off my pants. That I looked at the stunned Duan Fan. Brother Duan Fan, was I cool? Everyone was still reeling from shock, especially when they heard how I addressed him. Duan Fan recovered and said evenly, you won. But I saw his ears turn red. There was something about him that made me want to keep getting closer. After training ended and everyone dispersed, I followed quietly a few steps behind Duan Fan. That he noticed. Is something wrong? I nodded. Brother Duan Fan, I want to fight you. He looked me up and down. Are you serious? I nodded again, dead serious, serious. Without waiting for his reply, I charged. That he dodged my punch, and I followed with a sweeping kick. He executed a clean backflip. Duan Fan only defended, never attacked, which frustrated me. That I kept pressing forward. Brother Duan Fan, are you only defending because you like me? I didn't realize how coquettish my own voice sounded. Sure enough, his ears flushed again, and this time even his strikingly handsome face turned red. That I flipped behind him and leaned in close to his ear, breath soft. Brother Duan Fan, your face is red. As if he couldn't take any more teasing, he finally made his move. He grabbed my arm for a shoulder throw, but I used his momentum to land gracefully, then attacked. Duan Fan grew increasingly serious. We traded several moves, evenly matched. That in the end, he found my opening, locked my arm, and pinned me to the ground, my hand raised above my head. Duan Fan was strong. My opening lasted only 0.1 seconds. My old organization had pointed it out before, but I was arrogant and thought no one could exploit it. Yet Duan Fan did that. I processed that. He was trying to figure me out too. Brother Duan Fan, if you don't get up soon, I might do something bad. He immediately jumped up and pulled me to my feet. He seemed a little dazed. Do what bad? I smiled charmingly. With a face like yours, it's hard not to do something bad, isn't it? His godlike face once again rapidly turned scarlet. I loved watching Duan Fan blushed. It was a bit cute, and made me want to tease him even more. That I leaned in close, voice low. I've been thirsting for your beauty, brother. Duan Fan backpedaled fast and fled. That I laughed and called after him. Brother Duan Fan, you're going the wrong way. For the freshman welcome party, each department had to put on at least 2 performances. That my roommates pushed me to sign up. Nan Li had been a master of the zither, chess, calligraphy, and painting, and I had inherited those talents. But I didn't want to dance. It wasn't my style. Just then, Nan Wan suddenly showed up at our class. I was a bit surprised to see she'd lost weight. Here she was again, circling around me. Hi everyone. I'm taking registrations for the event that if you're interested, you can sign up with me, she said, her voice all soft and drifting, so annoying that I wanted to duck my head, not out of fear, but because I was embarrassed to be associated with her. Oh, sister, you're in this class? I've been meaning to find you. Alienate me. That's a new internet phrase I picked up. Really, just leave me alone. I dryly laughed. Haha. Some troublemaker in the class called out. She said she wanted to sign up a performance. I mentally said, thanks a lot. Nan Wan feigned surprise, covering her mouth as she smiled. Sister, since when do you like performing? Don't you hate dancing? Remember when we took dance lessons as kids? The teacher said you danced like a little duck, and I was like a white swan. She even said it was wonderful we're sisters, like continuing a fairy tale. I narrowed my eyes. What that teacher actually said was that Nan Li's hard work would pay off, and she'd eventually become a proud swan. How did it turn into Nan Wan's version? After that teacher's encouragement, Nan Li put in who knows how much effort behind the scenes that I was naturally rebellious that I glanced at her. Sister must have misremembered that I only recall the teacher saying I'd become a swan in the end. Since sister is so outstanding, let's perform that dance together. Nan Wan added our names to the list without a second thought. She was probably already imagining me making a fool of myself. I gave a cold inner laugh. The dress rehearsal. I claimed I wasn't feeling well, and just watched the run-through that I didn't want to interact with Nan Wan any more than necessary. Nan Wan was perfectly happy with that. She had a way of getting people to fawn over her wherever she went on the day of the performance. Nan Wan started causing trouble. My dress had been slashed, the hem cut up into a ragged mess. Summer was livid. Who would do this so low? I can't believe someone like this is at National Defense. I kept a poker face that IT was obviously that idiot Nan Wan. Forget it. Help me borrow a lighter. There are only 2 acts before mine. Summer was confused, but fetched the lighter anyway. I used the lighter to burn the frayed edges of the cuts, then rubbed some ash onto the hem. Just then, Nan Wan sashayed over in her costume and gasped, Sister, what happened to your dress? I wasn't about to play her games. You did it. Why ask? Everyone's eyes turned to Nan Wan. She couldn't stand being scrutinized. Sister, don't accuse me like that. I've been with Tian Tian and the others the whole time. I looked at her pitiful act. Enough. Quit pretending that I'm not interested in these boring tricks. I grabbed paper and pen, quickly wrote out a music score, and handed it to the crew backstage. With an apologetic tone, I said, Sorry, last-minute change of music. It was a score popular in the post-apocalyptic world, one that would immerse the audience in the journey from war to peace. Melancholy in the first half, uplifting in the second. Under everyone's gaze, I picked up my tattered long dress and walked into the changing room. Summer grabbed my arm, worried. Li, are you really going to wear that? Don't worry, I said with a faint smile. Nan Wan had arranged the program so I'd go on before her. Hoping to be overshadowed, I walked onto the stage in that ruined dress, ignoring the murmurs from the audience. The music began. Every movement was exquisite. The white, tattered dress gave me an air of shattered beauty, a stark contrast to my arrogant aura as the melody soared. I suddenly tore off the ruined hem. The long dress became a short skirt, revealing my fair legs. Fueled by the swelling music, I wove martial arts moves into the dance, graceful and striking. The music ended, and applause thundered endlessly. I bowed and walked off stage. Passing Nan Wan, I gave her a sly smile. Don't provoke me, I don't care about your little schemes. Nan Wan clenched her fists so hard her knuckles turned white. The result was set. She was destined to be crushed by me. After the holiday, I was followed on my way home. Nan Wan again. I deliberately walked into a deserted alley and hid behind a wall. When the person got close, I sprang out and pinned him against the wall. My voice was icy. Who sent you? Here to kill me? No. Let go first. How's a girl got such a grip? I twisted harder. Talk. I'm with the Snow Eagle Squad. Snow Eagle Squad. I'd heard of them at school. They were a secret unit directly under the Huaxia Nation. Afraid I wouldn't believe him, he quickly pulled out his credentials. If Nan Wan were up to something, she wouldn't go to this much trouble to forge a fake ID. I released him. What do you want? The man, Nan Fei, laughed awkwardly. Our captain sent me to find you. He wants you to join Snow Eagle. I have some things to deal with at the moment, sorry. It had been half a year since I crossed over. All I'd done was investigate Nan Fei and the others. I hadn't made a move yet. Nan Fei's eyes went wide. Whoa. Are you serious? Then he calmed down. The deputy team leader was right. The captain said if you join, you can name your terms. I thought for a moment. Lead the way. Nan Fei walked me over to a military vehicle. In the passenger seat sat a middle-aged man with a distinguished air. I climbed in and spotted Duan Fan. My eyebrows lifted. Brother Duan Fan, we meet again. The two in the front both coughed awkwardly. Duan Fan cast a cool glance at them. This is Captain Wang Guoqiang, leader of the Snow Eagle Brigade, and Nan Fei, our computer specialist. I smiled warmly. Hello, I'm Nan Li. Hello, young comrade. I've often heard Duan Fan speak of you. I turned a bright gaze on him. Often? Brother Duan Fan talks about me often? In the months since we'd last met, his composure had definitely improved. Not even a hint of red at the ears. He wasn't nearly so cute anymore. I've missed Brother Duan Fan a lot too, I said, a smile curving my lips full of mischief. Duan Fan's ears finally flushed red. I grinned like a sly little fox. Deciding to stop teasing him, I got straight to the point. I want Nan Fei brought down. And I need the truth about a car accident half a year ago. It was that mother-daughter pair. I just don't have the evidence yet. A flicker of interest sparked in Wang Guoqiang's eyes. That's doable. We'll investigate the cause and effect of the accident for you. But bringing down Nan Fei, we need a reason. Nan Fei bribes government officials. If that's not enough to convict him, he's also lured and assaulted several underage girls. My tone stayed even. Then I remembered something else. Oh, and one more favored. Yinxing siphons money from the Nan Corporation every 6 months and sends it to accounts under different IDs. Could you help me find out who's receiving it? I could uncover it on my own eventually, but a shortcut was being handed to me. No way I was skipping it. That wasn't my style. I'd long heard about Snow Eagle Brigade, an elite team of extraordinary experts. That was exactly the kind of place I dreamed of. Wang Guoqiang mulled it over. If what you say is true, I can agree to your conditions. Then thank you in advance, Captain Wang. Duan Fan's clear voice came next. Do you have other plans? Want to come with us to headquarters for a tour? God help me to no matter which world. He was the most stunning person I'd ever laid eyes on. That sacred, untouchable face could destroy mountains. I agreed eagerly. Sure. The car left the city and wound along a rugged mountain road until a military base loomed before me. Come on, I'll show you around. I teased. Gladly, Brother Duan Fan. Ever since Duan Fan had bailed me out of the police station, I'd felt an inexplicable fondness for him. But I'd forgotten to get his contact info. I followed behind them, listening as they introduced the facilities to Tank. I stepped forward and ran a hand over its hull. Interested? Wang Guoqiang asked. I nodded. It had been ages since I'd touched a tank. Ha! Duan Fan said you'd love things like this that I didn't believe him then. Wang Guoqiang laughed heartily. Looks like brother really does miss me. I teased. Amidst the banter, they led me to a training ground. The soldiers drilling there shouted, "Captain! Vice Captain is here!" Vice Captain? Nan Fei? I eyed him up and down dubiously. No way. He wasn't even a match for me in a fight. Wang Guoqiang cleared his throat. Not him, Duan Fan. What? He never mentioned it. He's the youngest Major General in Huaxiao right now. I inwardly marveled. No wonder he was the man I'd set my sights on. Wow. Brother Duan Fan is that impressive. Duan Fan smiled, a devastatingly captivating smile that made my heart stutter. Fatal, we walked on a bit, and a fighter jet came into view. Oh my God, I wanted to fly it. I turned a pleading, expectant look toward Wang Guoqiang. Don't tell me. You want to fly that? I nodded like a garlic crusher. Uh-huh. Just a little, just once. Wang Guoqiang looked troubled. I'll take her for a try. Duan Fan, truly beautiful and kind-hearted. Find out, be careful. Wang Guoqiang relented. Duan Fan murmured, let's go. I trotted after him like an eager puppy that it had been so long since I'd been that close to the blue sky. The test flight ended. Duan Fan said he was taking me to meet someone. He brought me to an upscale restaurant. Young Master Duan. This way. The manager approached. The door of a private room opened, and there sat my maternal grandfather from Nan Li's side. An old man whose silent presence radiated authority that I looked at Duan Fan in bewilderment. Duan Fan clasped my hand in his, casting me a reassuring look. Haven't you always told me you missed Elder Gu? Now that you see him in person, you're too happy to speak? So Duan Fan was helping me mend my relationship with grandfather. How long had he been preparing this? Grandfather. Sit. We were supposed to be family, yet it felt more distant than treating strangers politely. I couldn't stand the atmosphere. Grandfather, I was foolish in the past, but I've turned over a new leaf now. Please don't be angry anymore. Little Fan told me you've changed. Now I see it's true. If that place is unbearable, come back to the Gu family. The Gu family will always be your home. Elder Gu said, his voice aged and worn. Grandfather, I want to take back the Nan Corporation. I hope you'll help. Do whatever you want and I'll back you. Xiao Yun had such a hard life, and you used to be so disappointing. At the mention of his daughter Gu Yun, Elder Gu's voice caught. I went and sat by his side, comforting him. Grandfather, don't grieve. Mother wouldn't want you to be like this. I will make them pay. Good. Li has grown up. Grandfather's eyes glistened. That car accident wasn't an accident, was it? His voice suddenly chilled with certainty. They did it. I'm gathering evidence. Don't worry, grandfather. I soothed him. Just be clear-headed about it. When did you and Little Fan start dating? Grandfather's face softened with kindly curiosity as he looked at us. I choked on my water. Duan Fan reached a hand to gently pat my back and answered politely. About half a year. Half a year ago we barely knew each other. Elder Gu laughed joyously. If you'll be the one looking after her in the future, I can rest easy. How is your grandfather lately? Very healthy. He was saying just the other day he'd like to get together with you. Ha. Once you two have time, the old generation and the young should all get together. All right, Duan Fan answered with modest grace. After the meal, Elder Gu's driver came to pick him up. I, on the other hand, climbed into Duan Fan's off-road vehicle with him. Duan Fan leaned over to fasten my seatbelt. Seizing the chance, I grabbed his arm. When exactly did we start dating? Half a year ago. He didn't show a trace of guilt. So, Brother Duan Fan really does like me. I beamed. His voice was low and husky that I looked at his sharply defined face, his soul-stealing eyes, and, bewitched, planted a kiss on his cheek. Duan Fan's gaze deepened, reflecting my image. He suddenly cupped the back of my head with his right hand, wrapped his left arm around my waist, and a sudden, overwhelming kiss caught me completely off guard that a moment later, he pressed his nose against mine. Li, this is a kiss. Where was the innocent little rabbit from before? He straightened my clothes. If you don't want to go back to the Nans, I have space at my place that if the higher-ups are stepping in, things should move quickly. I came back to my senses. No, it's fine. Just a few more days. There's a charity gala in 2 days. Come with me. All right. I don't even remember how I got home that night that I in the living room. Nan Fei commanded. Back. There's a charity gala in 2 days. You and Nan Wan will attend with me. I replied coolly. No, I have a date with Duan Fan. Hearing that, Nan Wan's eyes turned green with envy. Nan Fei chuckled ingratiatingly. Duan Fan? Then go ahead. The day of the gala, Duan Fan took me to his studio. When the makeup artist was about to start, I gave Duan Fan a pitiful look. Do I have to? His tone was helpless but indulgent. Just a touch of lipstick will do. After my hair was styled, the stylist handed me a golden fishtail gown and gave Duan Fan a tie embroidered with gold threads to the venue. I spotted a familiar face. Xia Tian. I tugged Duan Fan's sleeve. I see a friend that I'll come back and find you in a bit. He followed my gaze and glanced at Xia Tian. Go ahead. Chatting with Xia Tian, I completely lost track of time. When I went back, Duan Fan was nowhere to be found. That a terrible premonition struck me that I rushed to find Xia Tian and asked her to lend me a computer. Fortunately, she was a tech enthusiast and always carried one with her that I quickly hacked into the gala surveillance footage an hour earlier. Duan Fan had accepted a drink from an official, one of the men Nan Fei bribed, that I scrolled through at 64x speed. That official returned later, led Duan Fan to a room on the 16th floor, and then left alone. That I tossed a quick thank you to Xia Tian and immediately flew toward that room that I in the video. Duan Fan had clearly been drugged. That I kicked the door open. Nan Wan emerged from the bathroom, stark naked, shrieking, But I saw Duan Fan lying on the bed, eyes closed, his face an unnatural red. Rage surged through me. I slapped Nan Wan across the face. Do you have a death wish? You bitch, how dare you hit me? She screamed and lunged at me. That I sidestepped and kicked her out into the corridor. That I walked slowly toward her and crouched down. I wasn't planning to hit you, because you're too weak. But why do you insist on tap dancing on my bottom line? Why? Because I want to snatch away everything you like. Looking at that seductive fox face of yours makes me sick. Just like your mother. No wonder my mother hated her. I am not a bastard child. You are. You and your mother ruined my family. Blind to right and wrong. She ranted. I simply dislocated her jaw. She made garbled sounds, glaring at me with murderous intent. Which hand touched him? I muttered to myself that I couldn't be bothered to find out. Efficiently, I dislocated both her arms. She screamed in agony. Out of basic human decency, I tossed a towel over her. I helped Duan Fan into his car. I called Wang Guoqiang. Captain Wang, it's Nan Li. That I beat someone up and damaged some public property. What? I recruit you, and the first thing you do is cause trouble? He yelled from the other end. That I rubbed my ear. Someone was about to sleep with Duan Fan. That I didn't have time to think about anything else. What? Who's this insane woman running schemes on a major general? The one I beat is Nan Wan. There's an accomplice too. I'll send you the info later. Also, find a doctor to come to Duan Fan's place. That I in his condition. It's not good to go to the hospital. With that, I hung up. The doctor arrived quickly. After an examination, the doctor gave him an injection. He has some muscle weakness, and he was also dosed with that drug. Don't tell me it's the one I'm thinking of, the doctor continued matter-of-factly. I gave him a shot. Given his physical condition, he'll regain mobility in about 7 minutes. But the drug itself can't be neutralized. It can only be physically cooled. If you use physical cooling, mild cases might affect sexual function later. And in severe cases, well, I don't need to spell it out. I felt like I'd been struck by lightning that I didn't even notice when the doctor left. Silently, I counted the minutes that I took off Duan Fan's jacket and wiped his body, trying to cool him down. Looking at his face and his exposed torso, I definitely wasn't losing out here. Still, this was way too sudden. I was so awkward I didn't know where to put my hands. You're awake? Li, I'm here. It's unbearable. Of course he felt terrible. His normally fair face was completely flushed. Duan Fan yanked me down without warning, and I crashed into his chest, the faint scent of ambergris flooding my senses. Beauty clouded my judgment. I touched those gorgeous abs. They felt so good. Just as I was marveling, Duan Fan flipped over, pinning me beneath him. Kisses, all-consuming, swept over me that I was kissed dizzy. Li, can I? His voice was low, hoarse, with a trace of pleading. Damn it, I really couldn't resist. I surrendered, and I fell, again and again. I don't know how much time passed. When I opened my eyes, the vast room had only me. Everything hurt. Running 10 kilometers would have been easier. Not long after, the door opened. Li, eat something. Duan Fan was in pajamas, placing food on the nightstand that I didn't fuss, picking up chopsticks. Did you eat? You go ahead. I think I messed up today. No idea if the team leader can help clean it up. He will. Don't worry, I'm here. I looked up at him doubtful. You? He gave a light cough. Today was an accident. Tomorrow I'll go with you to pick up your things. For now, stay at my place. Nan Fei won't let this slide. No, I want to go to my grandfather's. No way. If this happens a few more times, I'll literally die in bed. Last life I died stupid. This life I die exhausted. No, absolutely not. Duan Fan's eyes smiled. All right, wherever Li wants to go, we'll go. In the end, I still wound up living at Duan Fan's place. One thing worth praising, Duan Fan had been very well behaved these past few days. That I was comfortable. Clothes appeared when I reached out. Meals arrived when I opened my mouth. It went uneventfully for half a month. Bring that I picked up the phone. Hello? It's me, team leader. The investigation's mostly wrapped up. The officials Nan Fei bribed have all been suspended and placed under investigation. Nan Fei himself has been taken into custody. The driver from the crash confessed that someone hired him. Following the clues, it was Nan Wan and Li Yunqing who paid him off. Li Yunqing was arrested for embezzlement. They got what they deserved. Remember to report back in 2 days that I've arranged with your school. You're under a special, covert training program. In a while, you'll return to the team together with Duan Fan. Take a few more days off for now. Got it. Thank you, team leader. Duan Fan hugged me from behind, resting his chin in the crook of my neck. Li, only a few more days before we return to the team. I want to go see Nan Fei. At the police station, Nan Fei was slumped on the ground, dark shadows beneath his eyes. The moment he saw me, he latched on like I was his last lifeline. Nan Li, get your father out on bail? Find me a lawyer. I'm the one who reported you. You deserve this. My voice was ice cold. Ungrateful wretch. Just like your mother. You both deserve to die. You're a freeloader. Where do you get the nerve to talk like that? I honestly have no idea how my mom was ever blind enough to take up with you. You heartless bastard. Nan Fei was apoplectic. You. Bitch, I should have strangled you back then. I'm alive and kicking, aren't I? Besides, right now, it's you who's about to die. I sneered. I'd love to get your take on something. How does it feel to be a clueless dad for 18 years, raising a daughter and her real father at the same time? Nan Fei was too choked with rage to utter a word that I tossed a document at him. Letter of disownment. Sign it. You don't want me inheriting your fortune, do you? Nan Fei didn't hesitate. Straight to the signature and the fingerprint. Then, with deliberate leisure, I pulled out another document and placed it in front of him. Oh, I forgot to mention. I'm now the largest shareholder of Nan Corporation. Grandfather transferred his 21.3% stake to me. Thank you for spending most of your life building this empire for me. With Nan Fei in a state of collapse, I turned and walked away as for that mother and daughter. They could fend for themselves. Duan Fan was leaning against the car. The moment he spotted me, he came forward. I ran to him, wrapped my arms around his waist, and buried my face in his chest. The scent of ambergris swept over me. I don't have to scheme anymore. Duan Fan ruffled my hair. Come on, let's go home. That evening, I was curled up in bed watching TV. Duan Fan climbed in and wrapped an arm around my waist, his low, sultry voice right by my ear. Li. My hair stood on end. That tone, just like that day. Memories I'd rather have kept dead suddenly attacked me. That my voice quavered. Double what? I want no. Duan Fan's eyes darkened. He snatched the tablet I was using to watch TV, pressed me back down, and caged me beneath him that I couldn't break free. He had held back when we sparred. Kisses rained down, no gaps between them. Li, call me Gitch. My face flared bright red. That was a trick I used to tease him back then. Truly, one reaps what one sows. Not going to call. I couldn't help trembling. Duan Fan. Gidge. Duan Fan held me afterward. This weekend, come with me to meet my grandpa and the rest. And bring your grandfather along. I kept my eyes closed, resting. Wait, your grandfather? Wasn't he mine? Since when did he start calling him that? And wait, what exactly went down in that study between him and my grandfather? And he's the vice captain of Snow Eagle. How could he just fall for a woman's scheme like that? He tricked me. So the whole point was me? I summoned every ounce of strength and wrenched myself out of his arms. Duan Fan. I was practically grinding my teeth. You played me? Someone schemed against you, and you turned right around and used that to scheme against me. Duan Fan's expression turned frantic. Li, I'm sorry I in the study that day. I told your grandfather that I would marry you as soon as possible, and, well, let him hold a great-grandchild soon. What the hell kind of nonsense is that? No wonder my grandfather kicked me out. He hugged me tight again. Forgive me. Okay, I won't do it again. I fell for Li at first sight. No, I was afraid such a wonderful Li would be snatched away by someone else. Otherwise, I never would have signed on to be the training instructor. He gazed at me with those soulful eyes. Still no. Li, don't be mad. He pressed soft, feather-like kisses to my lips. All right, fine. I forgive you. Lust clouds judgment indeed.